Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2023. Welcome to the rest of your life. And we are here. We are ready to go with a week 17 that is full of a bunch of trash matchups, but also some very intriguing matchups. We got playoff implications abounding in a few of these very juicy matchups. And AG, it's a new year, but you said we have a very interesting little statistic for how we're doing so far this week relative to the new year. Break it down for the people.
So, we started off Thursday night pretty hot. Shout out to Chad for that Zeke first touchdown call. But in general, we ended up 3.65 units up on week 17 so far after Thursday night, heading in to January 1st, the day leaving 365 days left in the year because we are starting fresh here in 2023. But I just thought that was interesting. I was like, it's funny. We're coming into today on 3.65 units for this week.
Very cool.
Obviously, we're up around 55 units since week 7 for the season in general. Again, I wish we started counting earlier because that number would be way higher, but I'm not going to just make it up or anything. So we're rocking with this number since week 7. And we're going to add to that today. Like Trent said, there's some shitty matchups on the board, but there's some big ones that matter a lot. But either way, we find some value in all of those. Well, not all of them. I shouldn't say all of them because obviously we skip the games where there is no value. That's one thing we are adamant about here is you never want to force it. Like there's no need to be playing a bunch of props in the Browns Commanders game today, because you just don't know what to expect. Now, if you have a great read on it, go ahead, take something. But me personally, I stay away from certain games when there's not really anything to predict. You can't really tell how it's going to go. So,
So starting off with one of those intriguing matchups with massive playoff implications, you got Tom Brady in what could be his final year. Certainly could be his final year with the Buccaneers. Not sure what his future holds after this, but I don't think he's going to be in a Tampa Bay uniform again with a chance to solidify a playoff spot. If they win today, they are in. They win the division. They've got it. If Carolina, however, wins, they assume first place in the division, and then Tampa Bay needs help. Carolina would have to lose and Tampa Bay would have to win in order for Tampa to get into the playoffs. And then you still have the Saints there where if they can somehow miraculously beat the Eagles, then they're still alive mathematically. There's a lot of stuff going on with this one. I don't like picking a side on this one. This 3.5-point spread seems to be well placed. I kind of like where this number is. And to be honest, I want to take Carolina because they've been playing so well lately. But I just can't bring myself to do it and bet against Tom Brady when I think that somewhere I saw the stat. He's like the only quarterback in NFL history to never take a snap under center when his team is mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Wow. Yeah. This would be his first losing season. This would be his first losing season if they don't win tonight.
If they don't win out.
Today. So I actually have. I'm with you on picking a side, man. I don't trust the Bucs to beat anybody by any amount of points. But if there's any time to trust in the Bucs and trust in Tom Brady, if you believe in that magic, this is the time to take them on the money line in a little money line parlay or something like that. So a little bit of a teaser. I do have the Bucs in a money line parlay.
Okay.
We're gonna get to that later though because it involves a couple other games that we're gonna talk about, but. In my opinion, this is just like it's do or die for Brady. And when Brady is in do or die situations, he usually gets the best of that situation. And that's just how it's gone his whole career. So we'll see if that ends today. But I'm willing to take a shot on it because it's proven consistent throughout his entire career. So
anything
but
you like props-wise in this one?
No, not really. I mean, everything's priced pretty good. Like they have Fournette pretty high for the fact that Rachaad White might get a lot of carries. They have Chris Godwin at over and under 6.5 receptions. Now, he's been hitting that a lot lately. I think 6 out of the last 8 games or something. But it's just not something that I trust. It's too big of a high number. Brady, he spreads the ball around when he can. The reason Godwin's been getting a lot of catches is because he's been having to get the ball out quick, and that's kind of Godwin's game. But any given Sunday, that can change, and Brady can just have everybody getting 4 catches, 5 catches each. So it could be that type of game, or it could be Godwin getting all the catches. It could be Mike Evans finally popping off again. We haven't seen that since early in the season. And then on the Panther side, the Bucs defense is solid. They've been the reason that the Bucs are even in this thing right now. And so naturally you want to look at Chuba Hubbard and Dante Foreman on the Panthers,
Mhm.
but they're priced pretty well. Foreman's up in the 60s, Chuba Hubbard's up in the 30s. Bucks defense is solid against the run. So I don't really want to trust anything with my money there. So I'm staying away from props in this one. I do have the Bucks money line. We're gonna parlay it with a couple other money lines of teams that I think like should be winning today. So Bucks is actually the is like the one I'm most scary about in this parlay that you guys will see.
I'm
later.
with you. I feel the same way.
But I
And
do
you
think
said
they get it done. I mean, I really do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
Brady. If you bet against
No,
Brady his whole career,
until
you're
proven
down
otherwise.
bad, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Until proven otherwise, we are
Exactly.
not going to bet against Tom Brady making a run at the Super Bowl because it seems to be the MO. All right,
Yep.
so we talked about this Cleveland Washington game. Not much there that we can really rely on. Again, like, and I wanted to say that like this is one of the things that I think people have to recognize, and that you and I have recognized in real time as we've done this show, is that early on in the season, especially like by that week 5, 6, 7 mark, when we started hitting, a lot of these plays, is what you're doing there is you're identifying some advantages before the books catch up. Now the books have caught up. So now it's trying to find those needles in a haystack where that tremendous value just isn't there anymore like it was in week 7. So we're having to go through and sift and find. Now, you've got tons of injuries. A lot of these guys who were really good values week 7 through 11 or so. Now the books have caught up and they're like, okay, we're not giving you plus 250 on that guy anymore. That guy, if he's going to score a touchdown, it's going to be plus 120. And so you're not getting near the benefit from that stuff. So we got to be real judicious with how we spend our units and how we put them out there. And that's why, like that Ezekiel Elliott play from Thursday night, I was like, look, I know it sounds crazy, but like I'm going to go with the easiest money where it might not be the high, that plus 900 or plus 1400 first touchdown, but it's the guy who's most likely to be the one to score the first touchdown. So I'm only going to take 325, but I'm going to get it. And sure enough, it hit. So this Cleveland Washington game, we'd like to go to the usual suspects, Nick Chubb, maybe even, Brian Robinson or McLaurin or one of these other guys. But so much of that stuff is so well priced that you're not really gaining any value by going after it. And you're really playing a bunch of coin flips.
I did want to go McLaurin, and then I remembered Carson Wentz is playing quarterback. So
That's right.
Yeah, I don't have anything in that game, man. That game's a wash for me. If Washington loses, it helps out Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. So I would recommend against taking Washington to win in any form or fashion because as me and Chad have been all over this season, certain things happen in the NFL. It's a storybook, and they admit that. They opened up the season on Thursday Night Football, Rams-Bills, by saying, "Welcome to the new storybook of the NFL." I forget the exact quote, but they straight up said it.
They had like pages turning and everything.
Straight up said it.
They did 3D graphics.
Their Oscars of like all their best actors on the field and everything. I mean, look, I'm just telling you what they presented to me.
That's
so
right.
I'm going with that.
Right.
And look, if they want Brady and Rodgers, the 212s, legends in these playoffs, then I think the Commanders probably lose. But I don't trust that enough. It's not like they need them to lose this week.
No, right.
So it's not like I'm going to go and take the Browns. They haven't looked great. They have nothing to play for right now. So, I would just caution taking the Commanders. It looks like it's like, oh, the Browns are spiraling out of control. Commanders fighting for a playoff spot. They're going to come out playing hard. Listen, the players are going to come play every single time, no matter what, right? So it's like, you can't look too much into that and say, oh, the Commanders should win this game because they have something to play for. If it was that easy, it would be that easy. They wouldn't even put the numbers on the board because everyone would take one side. So, yeah.
So moving on down, the Saints try to stay alive for playoff contention, going up against the Eagles, who are playing for the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. I think this is a game that's just going to be a little bit too tough for the Saints to pull off. Philadelphia can afford to lose this game, so that concerns me a little bit. I don't like picking a side on this one either. I think that, again, the side's well placed, and I don't know if you have anything for player props for this one, but this seems like it would be a tough one to pick in that regard as well.
This game is actually funny. So, if the Saints or the Eagles have the Saints pick, their first round pick.
Mm.
So right now it's sitting at the number 10 pick. So the Eagles can actually win this game, clinch the number 1, and
get a
send
better
their pick
pick
down further. So I think they do actually have a good amount to play
Mm.
for just for that scenario.
Mhm.
You know, they can still, I think they can still drop this one and still get first place. They would need other things to happen. But the fact that they can move their draft pick down while they're clinching first place and home field advantage in the playoffs, that's a lot to play for, in my opinion. So I think they come out guns blazing. And you know, I know I just made a point in the last game about how you can't look too much into that, but what Chad's saying here is like if they're going to start pulling people, you know, because they don't need to be in this one, right?
Well, they already had Jalen Hurts get hurt a couple of weeks ago,
Right.
and it's not really like they would have to lose out, and Minnesota would have to win out in order for Philadelphia to not get the number 1 overall seed. Because if they lose out and Minnesota goes 1-1, or if they go 1-1 and Minnesota wins out, they're still tied, and they got the tiebreaker because they won that 24-7 game, like week 3 or whatever it was. So this is the incentive. I think probably that draft pick is a greater incentive than the playoffs.
Right.
And seeding for them at this point.
The thing is, I also think that, you know, they can trot out some of their B squad out there and beat this Saints team too. So
absolutely.
You know, I agree with you on the side part though. You know, I mean, because if they're trying out the B squad, they might not win by a margin. I do like Miles Sanders in this game. I think they'll go to Miles Sanders because, you know, that's one thing that you would want to do in this situation. Even though you're going out there to win, obviously, you might not pull your starters and everything like that. But you kind of want to just run the ball, run the clock, and get the hell home with a win, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So running the ball a little bit with Miles Sanders. So I do have him for 50 rushing yards and a touchdown, but that's going to be in 2 separate parlays. Like our touchdown parlay has Miles Sanders, and then we got a little yards parlay that's going to have Miles Sanders as well for 50. His number is priced around like 74, 75, I think it was. So I didn't want to take a chance on that high. But
I'll 78 and a half now.
Yeah,
so it's even higher.
I'll parlay him toned down later on when we get to that game.
And then his touchdown is at plus 115, so you're not getting great odds there, but it's solid, you know, because he's been pretty safe bet. But minus 500 for that 50 plus yards. So I'm sure that's, as you build it into a parlay, it gets a little bit better because you've got a few more legs that got to hit. All right, so if that's all you got for that one, I'm going to move on to this Arizona Cardinals Atlanta Falcons epic matchup.
Oh, this is a fun one.
Isn't it though?
Said nobody ever.
So how many players are you looking at for player props for this one?
Are there any players left that aren't like off the street? I mean,
that's why we're skipping it.
Who's playing for the Cardinals?
So one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, is going into the team that is lining themselves up. Speaking of playing for draft picks, lining themselves up for the number 1 overall pick, the Houston Texans. I like Jacksonville in this one. The spread's only 3.5. They're playing in Houston, but like we talked about, tell us the stat. What's the stat with Doug Peterson and his quarterbacks?
Yeah, I'm just watching Game Day Morning here on NFL Network before we went live, and they were showing that there's only 3 quarterbacks in NFL history, or only 3 quarterbacks in NFL. There's top 3 quarterbacks in their passer rating improvement from year 1 to year 2 is Peyton Manning, Carson Wentz, and Trevor Lawrence. Now, Doug Peterson is the head coach for 2 of those 3 quarterbacks. It says a lot about Doug Peterson. So give him his flowers, man, because he's really producing these quarterbacks in a very good manner. And the proof is in the pudding when you got 2 of the top 3 ever. And the other one that you didn't have was Peyton Manning, who's obviously we saw where that
one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
And we saw where Carson Wentz's career went after he didn't have Doug Peterson anymore. So it's definitely an interesting thing. I do like the Jags in this, so we have revealed one more leg of that money line parlay.
Yeah.
This is a guarantee in my opinion. Jags money line. If you want to play this straight with like 10 units, go for it. The Texans are not going to win this game and lose the number 1 pick. That would be outlandishly stupid for a team that needs a quarterback. Now, you know, you can make your arguments if you think any of these top quarterbacks are the guy and they should do that, but that's what NFL teams do, man. They're going to do it. They're going for that number 1 pick. They do not want to give the number 1 pick to the Bears, who don't need a quarterback, because they're going to trade to someone else, and someone else is going to go get the quarterback.
Right.
So if you
and the Bears,
should not win this
if
game.
the Bears lose out, if the Bears lose out, all it takes is 1 win by the Texans,
That's what I'm
and
saying. You can't win this
they
game.
cough to pick up. They cough to
Cannot win
pick
this
up.
game.
So you gotta trust yourself.
So yeah, you gotta I mean, this Jags is a lock of a lock in my opinion, and I don't even like saying that. But if the Texans win, man, that's stupid.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
the
agree.
stupid one if the Texans win. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I do also like Trevor Lawrence for his rushing yards here in this.
Okay.
This is going to be a straight play. So this is our first straight play that we've done for the show so far. Trevor
All
Lawrence over 13.5 rushing yards at plus 100 on FanDuel. Are we still at that number?
Juicy. Yeah, that's juicy,
Yeah.
man. Plus 100.
Yeah.
No
I'm
juice
taking
at
this
all.
all day. 1 unit on this, 1 unit to win 1 unit. Check this out. 8 quarterbacks have done this versus the Texans this season. The ones who haven't were the ones like that literally don't move. You know what I mean? Like the ones that just don't run. Matt Ryan had 21 rushing yards in week 1 against this team.
Was he in a wheelchair?
No, he ran for them, I think, or walked, or whatever you want to call that.
Oh,
that little wobble.
Man.
But he got there. He got 21 rushing yards on this defense. Trevor Lawrence has had in the first meeting with the Texans, he had 4 rushes for 29 rushing yards. So he didn't even need to take off a few times to do it. He's coming off a 50-yard rushing game against the Jets.
Yeah.
Who was a very good defense.
And he had a good game against the Cowboys the week before, too.
Yeah.
Even though he coughed up that fumble, he had like, I don't know, he had over 40 yards, I think, rushing in that game.
Yeah. No, he's hit this number of 14, which is a low number. He's hit this in 8 out of the last 11 games. 8 games total, but it's been 8 out of the last 11. So the first couple games he didn't do it, but he's been running every.
Oh, he had 21 against the Cowboys. So my bad.
The only concern, and the reason I think they have it at plus money, even money, the only concern would be if the Texans aren't getting a pass rush, he doesn't really have a reason to start running. Also, you know, he's milking that toe injury. He's been playing every week, and he had that toe injury going into last Thursday when he ran for 50 yards. So I'm not too worried about that. My main concern is if they just try to be really, really, really cautious with him for next week. And I think that's why the books are giving plus money, because they're seeing that. But all it takes is him just running out 1 time, 2 times, and he can get 14. So I'm going to take a risk on it. So I'm going to take 1 unit there. I like the pick.
Yeah, I like it. I dig that. Yeah, and I'm with you too. The Jaguars is one of the safest bets that we've had in a long time in terms of picking a side, and that money line is not so crazy at minus 190 that, you know, like if they were favored by 11.5 or something crazy like that, like I don't know. Yeah. That's a lot of juice.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why I said, like, if you want to play that straight and like just throw 5 units on it to win 2.5, like I wouldn't say that that's a bad idea. But I'm going to parlay it with a couple other things that we think are pretty good plays here tonight. So.
All right, so Bears Lions. You got the Bears 5.5-point dogs. Again, they might be trying to lose this game, and Detroit is actually playing really well lately, and Detroit is still alive for a playoff spot. They could very easily sneak their way into the playoffs. You got a whole bunch of teams in that, you know, between the Giants at 8-6-1, all the way down to the Packers, Panthers, you know, in that 7-8, 6-9 range. And the Saints too, you know, down there. So you have a lot of teams either vying for the division in the NFC South case, and then all those 7-8 to 8-6 teams that are playing for a playoff spot, and they're jockeying for position there. So more to play for on the win side for Detroit, more to play for on the we want to lose side for the Bears. So this seems, I don't feel as confident and comfortable with betting Detroit in this game, but I think that this thing screams Detroit should win this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the Bears, look, it's the same situation as the Bears, right? Because the Bears are going into this thing thinking, all right, we have number 2 secured for sure if we lose.
Yes.
And if the Texans screw up and fuck around and win one of these things, we can have the number 1 pick, and that's hella trade leverage because obviously, like I said all season, they've been finding out that they got the right guy while they're losing games, and it's the perfect scenario for the Bears. And like it's on, like the Giants should wish that they were doing that same thing because Daniel Jones progressed a lot this year. He's proven that he can kind of lead the team and manage the game and do that well at a playoff level. He's proven that, and I admit it because I was a guy who was like, Daniel Jones ain't it. He might be it, but they were winning those games. So now they're in the playoff picture. They're not going to win anything in the playoffs, and they're fucked because they're not going to get a great draft pick. Now, it's a good trajectory for the Giants. So I'm not
Mhm.
meaning to pick on them, but it's a good example of like the Bears found
Yeah.
that out too, but lost all the
Right.
games.
Right.
Perfect. You don't want to win now. Why
Mhm.
now? What's the point
No,
now? I
well,
mean,
and
the one thing is screwing up
not
your
just the
divisional
number one pick.
opponent's chances.
Yeah,
So
not
that's
just
one
the number one
thing.
overall pick is in their sights, but also they could slip all the way to number 4 or number 5 if Denver continues to
Mhm.
lose, if Arizona continues to lose, they get a couple other little slip ups here and there. You end up coughing up the number 2 spot even.
Yeah.
And I think where they are in terms of the overall roster construction that they have, the number 2 pick for them is almost as good as having the number 1 pick. Like there's plenty of talent there, and they're not necessarily going out there looking for that stud quarterback. Um, but I do think what you said earlier is the perfect reason to play for that number 1 pick. Is trading out of that pick could
Yeah.
be a huge boon to any franchise, because
Mhm.
whether it's Bryce Young or whoever ends up, because between now and April, who knows what that number 1 overall pick is going to look like after the
Right.
combine and everything else. Like we always think we know who it is, as the college football season is still going on, but come draft day, all of a sudden, everybody thought it was going to be Reggie Bush way back when. Sure enough, number 1 overall pick was Mario Williams, and the Saints got Bush at number 2. So like you never know how this stuff is gonna play out. But yeah, so I like the Lions here as well, and I'm with you on
Yeah.
that. Like the future's bright for the Bears if they can get a few more pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly why you want to lose here and lose out probably.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I have the over in this from our early line show.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
still
that's
like
right.
that
That's right.
because the thing is, these coaches, they're not, the NFL in general, they put on a good production, like we said at the beginning of the show. So we saw what the Texans
Absolutely.
did for a few weeks, playing tight, putting points up, allowing
Mhm.
points, putting points right back up, keeping the game close, and then losing at the end. That's what the Bears have
Pretending
been
to
doing.
almost beat the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago.
That's what the
They
Bears have been
pretended like they
doing.
wanted to beat them.
It's
That's
exactly what the
exactly
Bears have
right.
been doing the past couple weeks. So I do think there will be a lot of points. I do think it will
Yeah.
be back and forth. It's a great game for player props. I just think everything was priced well. So I stayed
Uh-huh.
away. I might think about throwing a little same game parlay before the kickoff. If I
Mhm.
do, I'll put it on the Twitter. The Twitter's in the link in the description box. MOO_sports on Twitter. You can just click the link, go over and
There you
follow,
go.
because whenever we're not on here, that's where we're putting picks out. So I'm
That's
I'm
right.
considering it. I don't have anything built yet, but after we get off here, I'll think about it, because I do think it'll be like a juicy player prop type of game, back and forth, a lot of offense. I do have Jared Goff involved in some things. We'll get to that later though.
Okay. All right. Miami and New England, our next game. Excuse me. This is another one that's kind of interesting. Got some playoff implications here,
Mhm.
where you've got two teams that are kind of in almost the identical position, and these franchises hate each other from way back. And you got Tua out, Teddy Bridgewater starting for the Dolphins. It just kind of blows this whole thing up, because I don't see a way to really pick the Dolphins to win this game. This seems like a Belichick special, where he's going to find a way to take away all the things that makes Teddy Bridgewater comfortable and make it easy for the Patriots offense to just do what they do best, which is run the ball and chew up, little chunks of yardage and long drives all the way down. So do you see anything here that jumps out as a good, you know, player prop, or are you just staying away from this one as well?
I'm staying away. I mean, I would love to go to these Dolphins receivers every week,
Mm,
obviously. But I don't know Tua. I don't know what's going to happen.
yeah.
And then on the Patriots side of the ball, I stopped betting their offense a while ago.
Yeah.
They are actually leading the league in points off turnovers right now. You want to know how much percent of their points are off turnovers? 33%.
Oh my
One third
gosh.
of their points they've scored have been off turnovers. So they're living off of their defense. Their offense isn't moving the ball. That's what I get from that stat. And yeah, so I'm not going to take anything there. I'm not taking anything on the Dolphin side either, just because it's unpredictable with Teddy B back. He played pretty well
Hmm.
in that stint he had earlier in the season, but then he got hurt too.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just too many variables, too many oddballs. I don't want to play anything there.
Well, back to your point about the storybook and the script writing. So Tua Tagovailoa like gets obviously concussed a few weeks ago, gets put back in the game, gets started the next game, and then they're just like,
4 days later.
He missed one. Yeah, 4 days later, and then he gets concussed again, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, we thought he was okay, but now but this time we don't even know if he got a concussion. They're just like, you know what? Let's just sit him out. It's like,
well,
are they throwing this game? I don't
nah,
know.
man. I said it when Tua first got hurt in that Thursday night game, the second concussion. I was like, dude, they fucked up because Tua's long term is going to be fucked up. Like, I was advocating that he should not play the rest of the season. Sit it out, get right, because that was bad what we saw, man. And that was 2 and 4 days, which can turn people's brains to mush. Like, there's a reason you take a week off, a week and a half sometimes when this happens, especially when it's that bad. Now, he came back in like, 3-4 weeks or something. Like, he did take some time. You know, I'm not saying they rushed him back on that. But I personally was like, hey, he probably shouldn't take another hard hit this season, you know, for another year at least. That was my stance. So now that this happens again, and you know, maybe he didn't get a concussion, but he's showing symptoms of it. Those symptoms are going to be showing, man. That's the thing that Tua's just going to have to deal with now, because that's how that works. You know, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I'm going off people that have studied concussions and football concussions, and some of them were saying he shouldn't play again this year. And
my daughter got a concussion.
I'm smart enough to know that I don't know shit. So
yeah, my daughter got a concussion in 8th grade, and she couldn't read for like, I don't know, about a month.
Damn, really?
Like every time she tried to read, she could read for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then she'd start having a headache. So like it's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and
I've had a couple.
And I mean, everyone's different. It's where it hits you in the head, what part of the brain it bruises or whatever is all part of it. But all right, so let's move on to this.
I got a concussion going for a loose ball in a basketball game once. And serious? You know, I knew my head got banged, but like I thought I was all right. Like I mean, I felt the ring, like I saw the stars. And I was like, oh shit. But I kept playing because I felt fine after. Like I was just like, oh shit, all right. And then I kept running back down the court or whatever. It was a tournament, so we were staying in the same place for the next game. So that game finished. That happened in like the fourth quarter, so there was only a couple minutes left. Finished that game while we're waiting like an hour until we play the next game. I just all of a sudden I just got dizzy and fucking ran to a trash can, started yakking.
Throwing up. I was about to say, if you started throwing up, you're done.
And so, you know, now I'm just like, oh, fuck. Like, and my coach was like, dude, like, you said you were good. And I was like, I was until now. I'm going home. And I hopped in the car and went home because, you know, I just went, you know, and I slept it all. You know, I just stayed out of the light.
Supposed to go to sleep, man.
What you got to do. But no, I mean, I not slept it all, but like later in the night. But, you know, stayed out of the light and everything, just like, whatever.
That's what you got
I took care of it. But yeah, I didn't know I was concussed. So, like, sometimes that happens. You know, I felt fine. Like, I really did. I got ringed, but then 5 seconds later, I felt good. And then it wasn't until we were sitting down, not doing anything, I started getting dizzy and threw up. So, I mean, these things are crazy. You know, it's unpredictable at times. So,
yep. All right. So this Denver Kansas City game gave us so much promise before the season started. You know, Russell Wilson. You know, the big signing for the Broncos. It looks like, you know, they're going to contend for this division. No, they're terrible.
Well, it was a good game in the first matchup. It was a good game in the first matchup, though.
Yeah. I'm not sure how this is going to play out this time. I think that the only way that they keep this close, that 12.5, you went with that. You looked at that one in the early picks show, and you know,
I got 13.5
I kind of like
early picks. I think so. I missed on that one. It went down.
but you know, this one, the only way I see that number, the Broncos staying inside that number, is if their defense just comes out balling. And they find a way to just keep the score low, and
there is motivation for that after what the Rams just did to them. Like, you know, that defense has been tight all season, and we said it, we talked about it. Like, that has to wear out at some point. Like, you can't just sustain that the entire season. But you know, it's not like they can. I'm not saying that they have to go 2-3 games without doing it. They had their misstep last week, so you know, they could definitely come back and do some good things here on defense. Yeah. I got Travis Kelce for a touchdown. Lock that in.
All right.
Here's why.
Well, I was going to say this was one where I thought, like, almost everything is so well priced and so juiced up that like the only thing I want to go with in this game is uh probably Travis Kelce. Oh, wait, that's first touchdown. Let me get.
And he's not
There's
that
the
juiced for his touchdown either.
Yeah, minus 105 is not bad.
Now,
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Here's why I like him. He and Devontae Adams are tied right now for the most touchdowns in the league.
Oh, there you
receiving.
go.
So you look at Patty
Devontae Adams ain't keeping up. Yeah,
not with Jarrett Stidham, not anymore. Nope. With Derek Carr in there, he would have made sure Adams gets the record. But
that's right.
I mean, not the record, the win for this season.
The win, yeah.
But Patty Mahomes is a guy who will get Travis Kelce that lead if they can. If they have opportunities in the red zone, they're going to be looking at Travis Kelce a lot. So I definitely like him for a touchdown. But I'm not playing it straight, although it isn't juiced up. So it's a good one to play straight if you want. But I'm going to play it with a couple other touchdowns in our touchdown lay. I just wanted to give that a shout while we were here on this game.
So I'm gonna pretty much the only chance my son has in his fantasy football Super Bowl is for Travis Kelce to absolutely go off. And so I'm gonna throw something together here where we got a little Travis Kelce go off play. Let's just see, because we did one of these earlier and it really hit. Let's just look at fuck it. Let's go 100 yards. 100 yards and 2 touches is plus 10-21, 10-1 odds. So I think I'm gonna put.
I like that.
I'm gonna put a quarter on that. Yeah, that quarter is going to give me $4, right?
Yeah,
no, 255. Yeah, my bad. It's 10. Yeah, I'm stupid. I was doing the math backwards. I know.
I asked you, I was like, wait, I can just figure that out, and then
it's like 25, boom. But yeah, so that's so 2.5 units on a quarter unit. I'll take it. That's my way of like giving myself a little skin in the game to root for my son to destroy his friend in their Super Bowl, because he's going up. He's up against it. So my son's he has Derrick Henry, so he's out. And he has Josh Jacobs, which we're like, who knows what's going to happen with that. He does have Travis Kelce, but he's going up against like Justin Jefferson, and it's like this litany of studs on the other side. So he needs those guys to just have off weeks, and for a couple of his guys to go off. So this is a good matchup for Kelce to actually go off too, though, because
those outside DBs, that secondary, 100%,
yep, and that's what I think they're going to try to lock up. So
you look at last week, no receivers for the Rams got over like 30 yards.
Yeah,
and they were torching them.
Yes,
it was the 2 tight ends that got like 60, 70, 80 yards.
Yeah, Higbee went nuts.
Yeah, so I definitely like Kelce. Now, we did reserve 2-quarter bets here, 2-quarter unit bets that we were going to build on the show. So we'll revisit that, because that might be one of them if we don't think of anything better. I do really like that. I had him for 50 yards in a different yards parlay also. Okay. And then I have him for the touchdown lay. So we could do that, play safe there, and then maybe throw down the riskier one also. So let's talk about.
All right, well, let's cruise through these ass matchups that are here left, and we'll get to those parlays, because I know that's what the people are waiting for. They want to see where they can make the big money. All right, so Indianapolis, the Giants. I hate this game. I think the Giants should win, but I can't trust them at all in any way, shape, or form, and I don't like any prop bets in this game. I don't know how you feel about it.
Not so fast. We got a little. We got the Giants money line. That money line parlay.
In the money line parlay. Okay. Well, that's fine.
They're trotting Nick Foles back out there again.
Yeah. True.
And for that reason, we're going Colts under 16.5 points as well. Minus 116 on FanDuel. I'm going to put 1 unit on that also.
We're going to put a unit on a straight.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with you about no player props here, but this team prop, I like this one.
Yeah. No, Colts, this is the best bet show. It's not the best prop show. It's whatever we can find.
Well, that's still a prop. That's a team prop.
I mean, player prop, not the best player prop show. My bad. Yeah, you're right.
The Colts have gone under 17 in 7 out of 15 games so far, but Nick Foles is 0 for 1 in that category so far. The Giants are winning in. We talked about it. The Giants are winning in. They're going to go out there and win this game, I think. That's why we have them on the money line too, in the money line parlay. The Colts had 173 total yards of offense in Nick Foles' start last week against the Chargers. Now, Chargers defense on the season has been a little bit better than the Giants, but the Giants play a little bit of a tighter game where they're going to chew clock. they don't play an aggressive game plan. Dable wants to go out there and win games 17-13. He's cool with that. So I just think that they're going to hold the ball a lot of time in possession. Colts aren't going to really be driving the ball. They don't have their guy JT to ease the pressure off of Nick Foles a little bit. So yeah, no, under 16.5. I mean, the only way this loses, in my opinion, is if like Daniel Jones throws a pick six, which we haven't seen things like that from him all season long.
Right.
He's been very good at keeping control of the ball and everything like that. But it's got to be like a defensive or special teams touchdown to get them over the hump, I think.
Yeah, that was the only way that they did what they did against the Vikings a few weeks ago. Was Kirk Cousins the Vikings turned the ball over, and it was some crazy stuff. Yeah, so
and Daniel Jones and the Giants, they play very conservative, so I don't see that happening. I see them getting good field position because if they do get stopped, the Giants a few times, they're going to punt. They're just going to try to play that field position, time of possession battle, and come out with a W. I could see this being a 20-3 win, 20-7, 20-10, something like that. Because I could see the Colts getting one offensive touchdown. They didn't get one against the Chargers last week. I could see them having one good drive here at some point in this game, getting a touchdown, getting a field goal. That's why I'm saying if they get a defensive or special teams, that might put them over the hump and we lose this one. But I don't think that's likely because the Giants are playing very good in that department. So,
okay. All right. So now moving on to this unbelievable matchup between the New York Jets and the Seattle Seahawks.
The Geno Smith Bowl.
The Geno Smith Bowl. The crazy thing is, both of these teams are still alive for a playoff spot potentially.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to play for in this game. And this thing, I think the side, it's priced right at 1.5. I would 4 or 5 weeks ago, I would have said you're crazy to have the Seahawks as dogs at home in this game.
Yeah.
The way they've been playing lately, though,
one of the best home
backing their way out of the
advantages too.
Yeah, they're backing their way out of the playoffs, so I can't trust them.
Seahawks is just. Oh, my bad. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say Seahawks as dogs is a perfect teaser leg right here. You tease this up to 7.5 or something like that, you're gold.
Yeah, there you go.
I
think it's gonna be a very close game.
Real quick, we got to do a quick moment of silence for the Zach Wilson unders.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
He has gotten benched again.
We did everything we could to keep those unders alive, but
such easy wins, man. I know we're gonna miss him. We're gonna miss you, Zach Wilson. The Jets won't, but we will.
It makes this game really intriguing, though. Now that Mike White's back there, because now you've got like some potential for the Jets to actually put up points.
Yeah. And move the ball a little bit down the field.
Yeah. So we'll see. You got any player props for this one?
I got a player prop here. I got Geno Smith for over 32.5 passing attempts with 1 unit. Because I do agree. I think Mike White's going to move the ball a little bit on this defense and be able to put up some points. Seahawks are going to be, fighting back. And the Jets defense very good, obviously. So I think they're going to have to be balanced. I don't think it's going to be just hand the ball up to Ken Walker 25 times and try to go home with the win, right?
Yeah.
So Geno Smith, but the reason I really like this is it's not juiced up. On BetMGM, we're getting -105. I'm not sure what it is on FanDuel.
It's not on FanDuel, so I'm pulling it up right now on BetMGM. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're at -105 there on BetMGM. He's cashed this in 9 games this season, but 8 out of the last 8. So that's what they've been going to because the line can't block and get holes for Kenneth Walker. So they're going to Geno Smith in the air. 33 pass attempts, he can hit it. There's been like 7, 8, 9, 10 quarterbacks that have hit this against the Jets. I forget the exact number, but
okay. Yeah, so that's where it is. 32.5 over at -105 on BetMGM. So yep, that's what I'm seeing there as well. All right. So let's go back to the FanDuel thing so we can, because they have different orders on the different sites for the game, so I don't want to get mixed up. Our next game, we only have a couple left, is the San Francisco 49ers, Las Vegas Raiders. This is a game that, early in the season, before the season, maybe even a couple of weeks ago when the Raiders were really starting to heat up and they were actually in contention for a playoff spot, this was one that was like you could circle it and be like, this is going to be interesting. But now Derek Carr has been benched. Derek Carr has left the team. They're talking about how they're just like looking for what kind of trade capital they're going to try to get for him. And the 49ers are just kind of lining things up for what should be a very good chance at a deep playoff run. And they're trying to position themselves. They're one of those teams that if they play their cards right, the Vikings lose here or there, they could actually take over the number 2 spot and have home field through until the NFC Championship. So there's a lot to play for the 49ers. The Raiders are just kind of playing out the string at this point. I don't like a lot of these player props for the Raiders side, but I think there might be some intriguing stuff on the 49ers side. George Kittle has really been going off lately. Deebo Samuel's back. So there's some stuff to look at there, but I don't know what you have found, if anything, that's intriguing in this matchup.
Well, it's funny we did these 2 games back to back here with the Seahawks-Jets game and then this game coming up next, because you mentioned Derek Carr not being with the team anymore after getting benched.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's in Seattle at this Jets-Seahawks game figuring out which one of those teams he's going to ask for a trade to, because they could both use him and they both could have bright futures in that case. I think the Jets is a perfect spot for Derek Carr going forward, in my opinion. I was just talking to a couple of my Jets fan friends, and they were like, oh, yeah, that would be great. Like, I think it's a good fit. So I think that's where he should be at right now if he's not going to be at the Raiders game.
Let me make my case for the Saints. Because the Saints, all right, so if somebody goes and gets Sean Payton, the Saints are going to scoop up a nice little haul of draft picks for that, because they still have Sean Payton under contract, and they could turn that around and flip some of that draft capital into bringing Derek Carr over in a trade. And that's the one piece that team is missing. If you put a legitimate quarterback on that roster with those guys, first of all, I think Mike Thomas actually plays, because I think a lot of this stuff is, I don't want to try to throw anything at anybody unduly, but this dude has had a lot of like weird little nagging injuries that just become season-ending injuries. Like, he hasn't torn an ACL, or he hasn't I get what
you're saying.
You're thinking or anything like that.
You're thinking he's just sitting out because I don't have a quarterback that's going to get me good numbers anyway. Why risk it?
If his injuries, if his injuries are always these things where it's like he could be back any week, except he never comes back. I kind of I get Kawhi Leonard vibes. I get Kawhi Leonard vibe from it. You know what I'm saying? So if it was something where it's like torn ACL, then it's like, okay, well, we know what the rehab timeline is on that, and if there's no like week to week, he might be coming back to practice. No, he's not coming back to practice. Never practices.
We talked about how the Eagles have the Saints draft pick too. So I mean, that would be like, they're not going to get a quarterback, their franchise quarterback in the draft this year. They got to go get one of these guys that are, maybe a Jimmy G even or something like that. They just need somebody stable that can just get it done.
Somebody who's not Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. Yeah,
Andy Dalton would have been the guy 5 years ago to just manage the game and everything, but he's just he's washed now. He's a little older.
But what Carr offers is beyond game management. Like,
I know.
Actually has that arm strength.
I'm just saying.
And the other stuff. Yeah.
I'm just saying. Even Andy Dalton 5 years ago could have been doing some damage with this team, with this roster. They got a couple.
AJ Green, Andy Dalton, hell yeah,
exactly. But Brock Purdy, bro. We're going back to the Brock Purdy well. 2 touchdowns.
Let's go. 2 touchdowns for Brock Purdy again. All right.
Gotta go back to the well on that one. Now I'm gonna decide. I'm gonna decide when we get to the parlays if we should put this, because I have a 2-pass touchdown parlay with 4 names on this list here.
Oh, all right.
Purdy is one of those names though, so I'm deciding if I should just throw Purdy out straight, because he is plus money, right? He's plus 108.
Plus 108. Yep.
Yeah, so I might just do that and then do the other 3, but we'll get to that in a second. I gotta bounce real quick. I'll be right back. All right. Do the Rams Chargers game, because I didn't really have much for that, but I do have a play.
He's got.
I do have a play in the other
one.
Lap. So okay. I do have a play on the Vikings game, so I'll come back for that one.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to talk shit about the Ravens, because I know AG's a Ravens fan, so I'm going to talk shit about the Ravens real quick while he's away, as well. But yeah, this Rams Chargers game is just it's ugly. And I think you're looking at the Chargers where they're actually in position to hold on to one of those playoff spots and maybe even solidify their position and move up a little bit. They are out of contention for the AFC West division title, but they do have a chance to slide their way up the playoff seeding and get themselves a little bit better spot. It's them and the Ravens, and we're about to talk about that Ravens game. You see them, with the Steelers. This is another interesting one, and with Lamar Jackson's health, a constant issue. No, I will not stop hating on the Eagles, Tim. Sorry. I'm just not going to do it. Matter of fact, I'm going to throw some love to the Steelers to rub the salt in the wound even more. I actually like the Steelers in this game. That +1.5 and the +108 money line. We haven't talked about this, but so we said earlier, Tom Brady has never quarterbacked in a game where his team is mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. Never taken a snap where he's not playing for an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin, has never had a losing record as Steelers head coach. They need to win out for him to keep that alive. And if they do, the Steelers move themselves into potential playoff consideration, because right now you've got Pittsburgh, the Jets, Tennessee lost. They kind of bounced themselves out on Thursday, but you got Pittsburgh, the Jets, New England, and Miami all in that 8-7 to 7-8 range. And there could be plenty of movement in there. So I like the Steelers to beat the Ravens, and then that actually puts some pressure on the Chargers, and either puts pressure on the Chargers from behind as the Steelers inch closer, or if the Chargers take care of business like they should in this LA battle between themselves and the Rams, then the Chargers actually vault themselves up into a tie with the Ravens for that number 5 seed in the playoffs. So that fifth wild card, or the first wild card spot, the 5th overall spot in the playoffs in the AFC. So that's what I like for those two games. I'm not sure what, if anything, AG has for player props for that Steelers Ravens matchup, but we do have, I know he's got something. That's the game tonight. But I know he's got something for this Vikings Packers game. I'm just going to tell you what I think about this Vikings Packers game. This is a great opportunity for the NFL script writers to continue. That's why I made the thumbnail the way that I did, with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady on it. Neither one of these teams, if they didn't have Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers on them, would be even being discussed as potential playoff teams. But Tom Brady is in position to win a division with as many as 10 losses. And I don't think it's going to happen that way. I think they're probably going to win out and maybe, at the very least go, split those games. If they do, though, they can't lose this one. They've got to beat the Panthers. Well, I think the same thing goes for Green Bay and the Vikings in this game here. It's not a primetime game for Kirk Cousins, but it is a spotlight game in that there are only 4 afternoon games today. That Chargers game, the Vikings game, obviously, and then you got that San Francisco and then the Jets Seahawks game. Those are your afternoon slate. And Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers playing in one of those, like I said, not a primetime game, but a spotlight game where there are going to be a lot of eyes potentially watching this game. I could see the tent folding with Kirk Cousins, as it tends to happen. And not to mention, Green Bay's got a secondary that can put some clamps on Justin Jefferson, take some of those options away, make it a little more difficult. They can get a pass rush, and it's Aaron Rodgers' time. If he's got live rounds, he's gonna empty the clip on this season and try to make his way into the playoffs. I think we've seen enough evidence that he hasn't completely mailed it in yet for this season, and they're still alive for a playoff spot, and they're going for it. So, AG, I talked about this Steelers Ravens game tonight a little bit, because I think that Chargers Rams game has some implications there. If the Chargers win and Pittsburgh somehow beats Baltimore, that puts the Chargers and Ravens into a tie in that 5th spot in the playoffs. So there's a lot of stuff to play for there for the Chargers, not so much for the Rams. I see the Chargers winning this game. I don't know about that line, but and I don't have anything player props wise on that one. But I know you said you wanted to talk about the Vikings Packers game.
Yeah, no, I just have a play. You touched on how the Packers could lock down Justin Jefferson a little bit. I think it's unlikely, in my opinion.
All right.
I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson over 7.5 catches, +132 on FanDuel, juiced up 1 unit there. He's got the record in sight. You know what I mean?
Okay.
and they've been going for it. They've literally been gunning for it. His last 5 games, he has 9 catches, 7 catches, 11 catches, 12 catches, and 12 catches. I see him getting at least 8 here in this game. They're going to go to him heavy. And like you mentioned, their defense is good enough to, get a little pass rush on Kirk Cousins to, lock down some guys outside, right? When that happens, where does Kirk Cousins go? He just
Safety
launches
blanket.
that shit to Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson comes down with him. So, I got 8 catches for him. That's easy. I don't know if he'll hit the yards. I don't know if he'll score a touchdown. I don't know if the Vikings will win this game. I do think it's interesting that they're dogs, but I get it in a way. But yeah, I'm just going to go JJ there. And then you want to get into these parlays now?
Yeah, let's do it. And I think, T-Hawk is another one that he tends to go to when he's under pressure. So you could see that too. And then Dalvin Cook as well. So that's the crazy thing. So I was talking about my son's fantasy football matchup. So he's got Travis Kelce, and he's got a pretty widespread array of players, but his opponent has Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Dalvin Cook. So it's like, man, you really feel that good about all those guys against the Packers on the road in a game where Kirk Cousins might just fold the tent? I don't know, man. I'm rooting for my son. All right, so let's get into the player props. I know you had let's do that money line prop first, because that's going to be the easiest one to just pull up on screen.
Yeah, that money line prop is going to be, or lay is going to be
or
the
parlay.
Bucks.
I mean, yeah. Okay, Bucks money line.
Money line parlay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. Shit. Listen, I'm
Bucks,
old.
Jags.
All right.
Giants. Niners.
Okay. I mean, I like it. The only one that I'm a little nervous about is the Bucks, but I can't.
That's why.
It's hard to bet. It's hard for me to bet against it.
That's why I said that in the beginning.
That's
the only tough one. The other 3 are just about locks. And what are we getting now? It was plus 296 when I built it earlier.
It's plus 292 now, so pretty much the same.
Oh, good. Yep.
Yeah. So we put in what, a unit on that?
Yeah, 1 unit on that. Nice little money line parlay to win 3, hopefully.
Yep.
Now let's get into this 2 touchdowns, because here's who I have: Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and Brock Purdy for 2 passing touchdowns each. That gets us to plus 972 on a half unit.
All right, hang on just a second.
4 point something.
Hang on,
think
man.
We should what?
I got to build it. I want to build it. All right,
we
so
got to decide if that's all 4 that we want first. But
okay.
Now I'm going off Cousins. I have Cousins, T-Law, Jared Goff, and Brock Purdy. Do we like all 4 of those, or like chat chime in? Somebody let me know. Or
I like Lawrence.
Do we ride with it?
I like Lawrence. I like Purdy as well. Cousins, I don't know, to be honest.
Well, build it without him. See what it is.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, she said Goff is the other one.
Yep.
All right. Bear with me, folks. And then what was Goff? Oh, Purdy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we already know Purdy's plus money, so that's going to be a help. That one's plus 108 on its own, right? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we're at 553 for that 3-leg.
Yeah, I'm throwing Cousins in personally. Cousins brings it all the way up to 972.
Yeah. No, that's
double for 2 touchdowns.
That's hard to argue with. Yeah, that's hard to argue with. And you know how it's been with that offense and with Cousins.
If that was plus 700 without him, I would be like, all right, yeah, let's leave him off. That's cool.
Yeah.
So now we're
plus
at
972. Yeah. So what are we throwing at that?
I'm going to throw a half unit on that I'm going to throw a half unit on 5. That. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mess with it. All right. So last but not least, or do we have more than one other parlay left?
Then I got a yards one. So this is Travis Kelce 50 receiving.
All right.
Miles Sanders 50 rushing. Evan Ingram 40 receiving. Josh Jacobs 40 rushing, and Mike Williams 40 receiving. It's nice and easy. Should get us to plus 290. and I'm going to throw a half unit there too, just to make him a quick little 1.5 on it. So we got Kelsey 50, Miles Sanders 50.
Yeah, hang on just a second. Let me get Sanders real quick.
Yep.
I got Kelsey. This thing's loading
That's
slow, so it
that's why I'm
takes a little bit of time.
it.
Yeah, bro.
You got Kelsey
chill,
50,
man.
Sanders 50. I got you.
Yeah. All right.
And then the next one after that is Ingram for 40. Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I'm looking for Jacksonville. Where the hell did they go? Oh, wait. There we go. Happy New Year, everybody! By the way, again, let's go get some more money. Start the year off right.
Hell yeah! New Year, same money.
Evan Ingram is 40.
Yeah, 40 for Evan Ingram.
Okay.
And then Josh Jacobs for 40.
All right. You like Jacobs against that Niners defense, or do you think maybe that's the
for
only
only
way they're going to
40.
be able to move the ball?
For only 40, you know. I just think they're going to give him a high volume with Sidham starting, and you'd be surprised. There's only been like 4 or 5 teams that haven't had a running back go for 40 on the 49ers this season, and it's been like the Bucks, Rams, like teams that aren't.
And he's one of the best ones.
So
yeah. Okay.
And he's got a lot to ride for too, because he's I believe in the lead right now too. And then Mike Williams for 40 receiving also is the last one there. That's a nice, easy, simple one. Should get us around plus 290. That's what it was about an hour ago before we went live.
All right. So let's see. Mike Williams, 40. So I'm at plus 290 overall. Yep. Is that right? All right. So we putting a unit or half?
I'm going half unit there too. So just to win a quick 1.5.
Yep.
So
1.5. All right. Yep. I dig it. All right.
Then the touchdown parlay. I got to double check and see if Kenneth Walker is supposed to be playing today, because I had him in it and he's still listed probable. So I'm going to check and see if anything changed there real quick.
Okay.
But the other two are Travis Kelce, which we talked about, and Miles Sanders. I think he gets back on the board in this game too.
K-Walk, Miles Sanders, and Travis Kelce. Okay. Where we at? Where you at, Philly? Here we go. Yeah, Tim's getting butthurt because I keep hating on the oh shit, where did I go? I keep hating on the Eagles, but I'm just waiting. It's only a matter of time. Here's what I could see. I could see Brady and Rodgers meeting for the NFC Championship, and I would not be shocked at all.
I already said it. If they both get in, I'm taking that.
Yeah. So the 3-leg parlay is K-Walk, Kelce, and Miles Sanders, and that is plus 719. That's just for anytime touchdown. That is not bad. So what are you putting, a half on that?
Yeah, half unit on that also.
Half unit on that? Yeah, to win 3.5? Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just double checking. I mean, obviously, if Kenneth Walker doesn't go, they'll just take that one off void, and then we make less money, but it could still hit. But let's see. I mean, he's expected to play and should have fresh legs for Sunday's game against the Jets.
There you go.
So that's the play then. I like it. Those are my 3 touchdowns.
So what's your other? You had said that you were possibly looking at a couple of quarter unit plays.
Well, yeah, I was just, as we talked through, we were gonna, I mean, we always usually throw down a nice fun one with like 2 touchdowns or something. So who do you think the guys are for this one? I mean, I like the Kelce play.
Yeah, I already put that Kelce one out there. I just wanted to check real quick to see Quinnen Williams and what he looks like for the Jets. Because is that an afternoon game? I think that is. I think that's one of the later games. Yeah, so we're probably not going to know that, because that would be a big factor if he's healthy and good to go. Because I haven't looked at that in a minute. But that's a big guy up front for the Jets in that run stopping. So get down to the goal line. I don't know. I've seen it happen too many times where Carroll will let Walker get the ball down to the 2-yard line, and then he'll try to run some play action and throw it to Noah Fant. It's like, damn it, what are you doing? You're killing me. Don't you know I have a prop on this? Oh shit. Anyway, all right, so let's pull that Kelce play back up real quick, because that's one. And the other thing is too, I want to see, because I have a free bet on BetMGM from the college stuff this weekend. So I actually want to see what it looks like on BetMGM real quick and see how I can build that one there and see if it's roughly the same odds, because it was pretty good odds on the 2 touchdowns and a 100 yards. So let's see. We go players. Travis Kelce 2 or more, and then go to his receiving yards. Where are we at? Come on now. Travis Kelce 100 yards. Yeah, plus 750 on that.
On
so
BetMGM.
That's
nice.
Yeah.
Go to BetMGM for that one, guys. Good call.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I got a free bet because I did the thing where, like, if you bet the lines on the games yesterday for the semifinals, it was just a bet and get. Like you bet $25 on a lines parlay, and you automatically get a $10 free bet to bet on. I think it's on the national championship game. There was another thing where I got a different free bet for something else. But yeah, so that's the deal. So here's that parlay right there for $5. My $5 free bet will win me $42.50. So I'll take it. I'm gonna go
a little bit of a different route. I'm gonna keep Kelce for the 2 touchdowns here, but I'm gonna also take Saquon Barkley for 2 touchdowns in this game
okay.
Okay. A little bit of a risky flyer there, but I kind of like it. And I'm surprised that Saquon's number was a little higher than Kelce. I would think Kelce's more likely to get 2 than Saquon. Kelce's
I think the difference. Yeah, the only difference is that Saquon just needs a couple of punch-in goal line plays, and Kelce,
Kelce needs a little more to. They got to go to him. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a running back versus a tight end, so I get it. It's just with these names,
Yeah, the way that they actually perform, it tends to be Kelce that's more likely to get the 2. But then the other thing is too, it's this matchup where you're going up against a Colts defense and a Colts team like that. I think that factors into it as well, where you got Denver's defense. Although I don't know, like even that, I'm talking myself out of that too, because damn, the Broncos can't guard tight ends. So so at 23.94, that's quarter unit wins you 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock with that.
All right.
And then I'm gonna build one more little quarter unit play. With maybe 80 yards for a couple guys. So Kelce's on there.
Okay.
Hang on. Actually, no, I don't want to put Kelce on there because I already have him on the yards and it's these touchdowns here. I already have him on 50 yards, so I'm taking him out of that.
Okay.
I don't know, honestly. I need more followers on that.
One later?
I need more followers on that Mood Twitter anyway. So you guys gotta go follow that, and I'll do this. I'll do plays for the 4:00 games, so we'll have time to get them in and think about it and everything instead of rushing them here.
Excellent.
So go follow that Twitter. Links in the description box. Other than that, I'll go through the plays again real quick just so everyone doesn't miss anything here. We got the Colts under 16.5 points on FanDuel -116, 1 unit there. On FanDuel at +100, we got Trevor Lawrence for over 13.5 rushing yards. We got 1 unit there as well. We got a money line parlay with the Jaguars, the Buccaneers, the Giants, and the 49ers. That's at +296 with 1 unit there. Geno Smith for over 32.5 passing attempts -105 on BetMGM, 1 unit there. Justin Jefferson over 7.5 catches +132 on FanDuel, 1 unit there. Then we got a half unit parlay with Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and Brock Purdy each to throw 2+ touchdowns. That's at +972 on FanDuel. Then we got Travis Kelce for 50 receiving, Sanders for 50 rushing, Miles Sanders, Evan Ingram for 40 receiving, Josh Jacobs for 40 rushing, Mike Williams for 40 receiving, +290 half unit. Then we got Kelce, Miles Sanders, and Ken Walker for touchdowns at +750 on BetMGM, half unit there, and a quarter unit on Travis Kelce for 2 touchdowns and Saquon Barkley for 2 touchdowns at +2394. And follow that Twitter because I'll give another quarter unit play for the night games, or the afternoon games, I should say. And hopefully by then we're already up anyway. So
that's right. Yeah, we'll have some fun too with the game tomorrow night, which is going to be a real.
I'm excited for tomorrow's stream, so make sure you're.
I got to talk to you about that.
Hit that subscribe button and everything as well.
Yeah, we got to schedule that one because I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, so I got to get. We might need to knock that one out this evening or something like that. Or I'm gonna have to do it in an airport. So one or the other. But yeah, so we'll figure it out. But yeah, you guys follow the Moose Sports Twitter. AG's been grinding, putting in a lot of work on that, putting plays together for you guys, and it's a great follow. So go check it out and give it a follow, and stay tuned for those picks coming up later on today. And with that, we will leave you. We appreciate y'all coming through. If you missed any of this stuff, you can scrub through and try to find where we built the plays and get them in before kickoff. You got about a half an hour. So
I'll post them on Twitter. I'll post them on the Twitter if you just got it and everything.
There you go. All right, y'all. Peace.
Happy betting, everybody. Good luck. Peace.
Happy New Year. Peace.